shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Well, we hit a record high yesterday, and we are aiming for it again today with these temperatures in the mid-90s. But I will tell you when the heat breaks.
Plus, hospital takeover feedback. The session's put in place for the community to share their thoughts about the WakeMed Atrium Health deal. Plus, school financial planning. Wake County Schools is trying to handle higher diesel fuel prices and staff raises. What could be in store for next school year? Well, hey, thanks for waking up dark and early with us here at 4:30 on WRAL News. Let's go ahead and stretch a little bit, drink a little coffee, and lock in. I'm Chris Lovingood. We'll go ahead and start off with your weather forecast. We have Elizabeth Gardner taking a look again, starting in the 70s this morning, Elizabeth.
Ooh, and it's such a hot day. We hit 96 yesterday, which broke the previous record, and we're looking at 96 again today, which would also break the record. I mean, it was just so hot yesterday. We take a look through downtown Raleigh. This is from our Jimmy V camera. 71 degrees here as we look down Fayetteville Street. Southwest wind at 9. It's that southwesterly wind that keeps pushing the warmth in. We're going to talk about the pattern and what's coming up to break it in just a little bit. But 70 in Southern Pines, 67 Goldsboro, 68 in Roxboro. Again, right up at record highs again today, looking at a high of 96, and that'll happen at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to see one more day of this intense heat. Now, if this was July, we would just be seeing this on repeat, for the entire month and into August. But this is still the end of May, and our normal high is in the low 80s. So we do have a cold front that'll come through on Thursday. It will stall over the area and bring us a wet pattern for the holiday weekend. We'll talk about how much rain we could see coming up, Chris.
All right, sounds good, Elizabeth. Well, starting today, WakeMed wants to hear from you about its deal with Atrium Health. It's holding a series of community forums across Wake County after county commissioners voted to delay their decision on the acquisition earlier this month. Let's bring in WRAL's Ali Kadabar. She joins us live from WakeMed. Ali, these listening sessions, they'll allow people to ask important questions.
Yeah, Chris, people will have 6 opportunities over the next 2 weeks to ask WakeMed leaders about the deal with Atrium Health. Now, there will be 5 in-person sessions and 1 virtual session. Now, WakeMed leaders are going to start with a presentation of what this takeover would look like. Then people can ask questions. Earlier this month, Atrium Health proposed plans to take control of WakeMed. A few days later, Wake County commissioners decided to put a 90-day hold on a decision. They wanted the community's input. Now, State Treasurer Brad Briner has questioned the deal from the start. He wants WakeMed to address how it will affect the price of health care.
I understand that WakeMed is putting the best spin on this as possible, but there's real questions about affordability to commercial payers that they haven't even begun to answer. So hopefully they'll be able to answer those in these forums.
Now, the listening session tonight is at 6 p.m. It is at the Andrews Conference Center at the WakeMed Raleigh campus. Now, you can find more of those listening dates over the next 2 weeks on WRAL.com. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kadabar, WRAL News.
Well, today, an effort to put a cap on your state income tax rate is set to move forward. The state Senate and House are expected to vote to put a constitutional amendment on the November ballot. Basically, this would make it so the state's income tax rate could not rise higher than 3.5%. Republicans say this is designed to place additional taxpayer protections into the state constitution, and it would also limit how future tax increases could be approved.
We're doing this is because we're making a promise to the voters. We're telling them what we're going to do. We're telling them we're reducing their personal property taxes, or their personal income taxes. They should be able to count on that.
When you start looking at how much money, the gross income of certain of our citizens, they are not going to benefit as much as some with other income levels.
Now, critics of this move say that it's a short-sighted effort that will likely require significant cuts to state government in the future. And our NC Capitol team will be following developments of that story throughout the day. We have new details this morning about a shooting attack at a mosque in California. The Islamic Center of San Diego says that it will be closed until further notice, and that was because of the shooting that killed 3 people. The San Diego DA's office is investigating whether anyone associated with the 2 suspects who died in the attack should face legal consequences. NBC News is reporting the suspects were 17-year-old Kane Clark and 18-year-old Caleb Vasquez. They died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds, and police say one of the suspects took 3 weapons from his mother's home before this attack. That shooting, it hit hard here locally. At the Islamic Association of Raleigh, they say trusting in faith over fear, That's what gets them through hard moments like this.
Just rely on our faith in God to get us through these difficult times. And that's really what the attackers want. They want us to be afraid, and it's our choice not to give them that fear and to face it.
Now, leaders from the Islamic Association say they are in constant communication with local police, and this is to ensure that people who visit 5 times a day in order to pray can do so safely. They say they are grieving with their faith family on the other side of the country. Well, the cost of transportation and teacher pay at your child's school could become more expensive next year. Today, district leaders in Wake County are rethinking the school system's financial outlook. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the district headquarters in Cary. Kelsey, increased costs are adding up to be more than what the district budgeted for.
Yes, Chris, 2 major factors play into this budget conversation that's happening here at the board headquarters today. Teacher raises and higher diesel costs. Last week, state lawmakers proposed an average 8% raise for teachers. Most teacher salaries are covered by the state and some are covered by the district. Now, school leaders have to figure out how to match these new raises. They only budgeted for a 3% pay bump next year. Rising diesel prices make it more expensive to fuel buses. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains how the district isn't experiencing the full effect of higher prices yet, but this could be more of a financial strain next school year.
They've gotten some assistance from the state, which had some leftover money that they were able to give out at the end of this school year to all the school districts in the state. And so they've gotten some help there. They've bought in bulk, so they're kind of locked into a price when they buy, and it lasts for several weeks.
County leaders are also weighing in now on school board members' budget proposal. School leaders will meet today at 2 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
Well, tonight, the Wake School Board is set to vote on whether to change calendars at 8 schools. The schools are all multi-track year-round, and that means they rotate up to 4 groups of students in and out of the school for 12 months. Well, that increases the school's capacity, but it also costs more. The district expects to save about $1 million by converting the school calendars. Parents in Holly Springs and Wake Forest say they want their schools to stay year-round. The school district is recommending they move to traditional calendars. Today, Raleigh leaders are set to discuss a way to keep scammers from blocking your 911 calls. Raleigh City Council is looking into a state grant for Raleigh Wake 911 to make this happen. Now, Raleigh Wake 911 is receiving a nearly $250,000 grant from the state, and that money would be used to fund cybersecurity protection, according to city documents. Cybersecurity attacks on 911 systems are going up, and a recent report found attacks happened every 74 days in 2024, and it was more often in 2025 at every 60 days. Well, that can lead to longer wait times, poor audio quality on calls, and even the 911 systems going down. The city says Raleigh Wake 911 has not had any recent cybersecurity threats, and the money would be used for firewall maintenance. Today's meeting starts at 1 p.m. All right, looks like the matchup for the Eastern Conference Finals is now the Canes versus the Canadiens, both fighting for a spot in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup Finals specifically. The Canadiens eliminated the Buffalo Sabres last night with a 3-2 overtime win in Game 7 of their series, and now Montreal will travel to Raleigh for Game 1 of the conference final. That will be Thursday night at 8. The Canes will also host Game 2 of the series Saturday night. A former member of the Durham Committee of Affairs of Black People is accused of potential fraud. Charges were filed after a year-long investigation into this. Cassandra Stokes was indicted for embezzlement and obtaining property by false pretenses. The allegations concern the handling and use of almost $75,000 in PAC funds and related finances during 2023 and 24. WRAL first reported on that investigation last May. The SBI says this investigation is ongoing. The woman accused of posing as a licensed orthodontist briefly appeared in a Wake County courtroom yesterday. Ebony McBean's arraignment was scheduled for Monday, but it was pushed back to June 10th. Police say she performed thousands of dollars worth of dental work without a license and then closed her practice. This is a case WRAL Investigates has been covering for months. And WRAL Investigates Destiny Patterson asked Ms. Bean if she plans to pay her patients back. You can find her response on WRAL's YouTube page. Just search unlicensed orthodontist. Well, today we are going to hear from the Army Corps of Engineers about lake levels in the Triangle as the drought is going on right now. And at last check, Raleigh's main source of drinking water, Falls Lake, was at 77%. Most of the state is experiencing a severe to extreme drought. And today's update is at 10 a.m. And the Topsail Nature Preserve will now be managed by the state. It's a part of the state's commitment to long-term conservation and responsible public access. Today, leaders from the Department of Environmental Quality and other conservation partners are hosting a ribbon-cutting ceremony to mark that transition. It's today at 1 p.m. Your time this Tuesday morning is 4:40. National backlash. Why this gesture led to one North Carolina runner being disqualified and what his coach and other students are saying this morning. Plus, heat-related emergencies, the increased number of cases EMS teams are facing this year, and why some say people are not prepared.
And today's going to be just like yesterday. Our high temperatures will be in the mid-90s, which is well above normal and will likely break another record. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'll show you when our heat moves out coming up. It's 4:44 and we have the top of the tower in our backyard lit in blue for clear skies. You know, it was a nice sunny day yesterday, but maybe nice doesn't have anywhere, doesn't fit with what we saw yesterday. We had a high of 96 degrees yesterday, which is a record high and obviously well above normal. Our normals are in the low 80s this time of year. 68 in Lewisburg and Fayetteville, 66 in Irwin, and 71 in South Hill. So it's a warm start this morning. If you're walking a dog, this is definitely going to be by far the most pleasant time of the day. Once we get closer to lunchtime, we'll be at almost 90, and even at 5 o'clock it'll be 93 degrees, so we don't get out of this heat very quickly. We do get out of the heat by the end of this week thanks to a cold front. It will change our weather pattern dramatically. Temperatures will be much cooler, but it will also be wetter. I'll let you know how that could affect your holiday plans coming up. Chris?
Yeah, a lot of people want to know that. Thanks, Elizabeth. This morning we are hearing more reaction to a high school sports disqualification that's drawn national condemnation. You see right there, this is Nian Brown. He's a runner for Mallard Creek High School in the Charlotte area. Well, he was disqualified from the state championship because of this hand gesture. And here's what his coach had to say.
I saw the official threw the flag up. I just, I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief. The moment's gone. The celebration is gone. You can't get that back.
You can see the incident in question in this video right here. Right at the end of the race, he holds up his hand. The referee ruled that celebratory gesture was actually enough to disqualify him. People at Jordan High School, which won the state championship after Brown's disqualification, they're kind of split on this.
It was totally unnecessary to disqualify him for that. I mean, it wasn't anything wrong with the gesture, it wasn't disrespectful.
I think if you break the rules, you suffer the consequences. There were some things that were established at the beginning.
And Brown released a statement yesterday saying that he's disappointed and he hopes this can start a conversation around allowing young athletes to celebrate wins. Mallard Creek's coach is appealing the disqualification. A New York judge ruled in favor of defense attorneys for Luigi Mangione. The judge says police illegally searched his backpack after his arrest in the shooting and killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, because of the ruling, items discovered during the initial search of Mangione's backpack at a Pennsylvania McDonald's will be excluded from the trial. However, the judge ruled items found at the police station are valid. That includes a 3D printed gun and a so-called manifesto. Mangione faces several state and federal charges related to this killing. Court documents reveal President Donald Trump is actually dropping his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. He filed the lawsuit earlier this year over the leak of his tax returns from his first presidency. The move to drop the suit comes as the Justice Department announced the creation of a $1.7 billion fund. That money is meant to compensate Trump allies who feel they were unfairly investigated by the Biden administration. Looks like pre-made cocktail drinks could be available to you at your local grocery store. That's because today state lawmakers will consider changes to North Carolina's liquor laws that may allow this. And this is all centered on a bill going before a legislative committee this morning. It would allow the sale of spirit-based drinks. They're currently only sold in ABC stores. Lawmakers discussed the idea last week, and they're also expected to scrap a proposal to allow ABC stores to open on Sundays. You can check the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com for more updates on that bill. Wake County EMS is responding to more heat-related emergencies than usual for this time of year. That's according to call volume data since 2024. The number of calls between March and May have increased since 2024. this year is on track to hit last year's numbers before the month is even over. And it's the same for Orange County EMS. As a smaller department, they've had 4 heat-related 911 calls so far this year, and that's unusual.
People aren't prepared for it, so whether it's out mowing the lawn just because of you want to mow the grass earlier in the season or go for a run at the same time you normally would as in February, just it's a lot hotter than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, and Health and Human Services says last year 5,700 people across the state went to the hospital for a heat-related emergency. You know, Elizabeth, I know a lot of people obviously have lived in this area for a while. They go, oh, we're used to this heat. It's like, well, don't just take that for granted. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're staying cool because this heat is no joke.
Well, by the middle of July, we are used to it. It's just this is the first real heat wave. We haven't seen temperatures, an extended period of time, up here in the mid-90s. And heat impacts on your body are cumulative. So you might be fine today at 96, but your body remembers that for tomorrow. And by tomorrow, maybe you're not okay at 96. So I was really surprised at how many people were out running in the middle of the hottest part of the day yesterday. Just hold on. And, it's the best thing to do is go in the morning if you are, really tied to that morning outdoor run. And I get it. I much prefer to run outside. We take a look at here, downtown Raleigh from our Jimmy V camera at 71 degrees with a southwest wind at 9. And so we're going to keep it in the upper 60s to 70s, all the way up until 11 a.m. So that's going to be the time to get out. I know you're at work at that point, probably, but if you can get outside and get whatever done outside you can do before lunchtime, that's going to be the safest. 67 in Chapel Hill, 68 in Clayton, it's 71 in Morrisville and in Rollsville. And around town today, it's going to feel just like yesterday. 96 in Raleigh and Durham and 97 in Fayetteville, and that will break another record high. Here's why. We have the Bermuda high that's sitting out here. This high pressure system is pushing all the tropical heat and moisture, humidity into our area. It hasn't been terribly humid, actually, which is great. We're still dealing with a slightly dry air mass. It doesn't feel exactly like it would feel if it was in the middle of July, but still, we're talking about 96 degrees. And the reason it's so hot is the flow around that high. So you can see these wind streams. Notice the red shaded area. Today and tomorrow, we'll be seeing a high of 96. But then here comes a cold front as the low moves away from us. Thursday's high, 89. And with that front in place and more of a northerly northeasterly flow, we're going to end up at around 76 on Friday. So we do have some relief from the heat, but both today and tomorrow are likely to either break or tie a record. We may tie it tomorrow and break it today. It does look like our heat index will start to climb as we get to at least the moisture in the atmosphere will start to climb as we get into the weekend. But a lot of that is because of our potential for rain. Memorial Day weekend, it looks completely different from the current pattern that we're in. We have a chance of showers and thunderstorms each day through Monday, starting on Thursday. We'll talk about how much we could see. Chris?
All right, sounds good, Elizabeth. Your time is 4:50. Streaming shows and films. Brooke Shields plays a crime author turned crime solver in a new series. That and more ahead in the Hollywood Minute. Oh yes, the Green Lantern universe expands with a new series, and Brooke Shields has to solve a murder. Rick Damigella has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
This ring, it's the greatest weapon in the universe.
Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre discover the power of the Green Lantern ring. The pair stars in the new series Lanterns, which sees them working to keep the Emerald tool from falling into the wrong hands. The action-packed drama premieres August 16th on HBO Max.
What if you and I write the book about Nash's murder together?
Brooke Shields is on the case. The actress plays a crime author who gets caught up in a small-town murder in You're Killing Me. With the help of an aspiring writer, the duo work to find the killer of a close friend. The series debuted this week on Acorn TV.
W.E.B. Du Bois is arguably the greatest black intellectual scholar activist in American history.
W.E.B. Du Bois, Rebel with a Cause, features dramatic readings from Common and Jeffrey Wright, as well as narration by Viola Davis. The big names lent their talents to the documentary, which covers both his life and his lasting impact. The American Masters presentation premieres Tuesday on PBS. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Organizers of the World University Games spent the day in Cary yesterday assessing possible venues for the 2029 competition. And they're in the state for 2 weeks to look at possible locations. This event draws thousands of student athletes together to compete. Think of it like the Olympics, but for college athletes. Officials were at the Cary Tennis Park on Monday for this.
Cary is a beautiful town, there are lots of nature and there are lots of people very nice, and then I'm sure that we have a very comfortable tournament here in Cary. Very impressed in this tennis club, the Cary Tennis Park, and then this is one of the could be the best tennis facility for the university games.
The games will be played July 11th to the 22nd in 2029, and Capital Broadcasting Company is a proud sponsor of the World University Games. Over in Johnson County, Emergency Services kicked off EMS Week by recognizing some hometown heroes. 5 people were inducted into the Johnson County EMS System Hall of Fame. They were recognized for their dedication, their leadership, and service to the community. And officials say they represent decades of commitment to emergency care across the county. And Orange County wants to see the beauty of nature through your eyes. The 2026 Nature of Orange photo contest is happening right now, and this year's theme is focused on water, wetlands, and wildlife. Organizers encourage people of all ages to explore local parks and trails and submit photos by May 31st. Good luck. Your time is 4:56 this Tuesday morning. Push for feedback. How you can get involved today in the discussion about Wake Med's deal with Atrium Health. Plus, financial planning efforts, how Wake County school leaders are working ahead to adjust to increased costs ahead of the next school year.